Dun, dun.
No, I'm the entertainment usually.
Yes.
Jillian, are you hearing us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yep. Great.
Good. Thank you.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to see your name. How's baby?
Oh, he's wonderful. He smiled for the first time at me and melted my heart. So now apparently he wants a pony. So I've got to buy him a pony.
Oh, there you go. That's easy.
He's 5 weeks old.
Oh my God. Okay, so 11:04. So let's begin. Thank you, Kevin and Fraser, for coming on to the call and for providing some information. I think the topic is doing business online, or is that right? Am I in the right workshop? Is everybody else in the right work? Yeah.
It's increasing revenues through online stores.
There you go. That's exactly what it's called. I knew that.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is we're going to start with just a bit of just your name and your business name so that we kind of know who's on the call. And we're going to start with Tony.
So my name is Tony. Everybody calls me Two Bears, but I answer to both. I have just started a business called Treaty Marshal Service. It is a locksmith service based out of Gananoque. And I just moved here about 6 weeks ago from Vancouver Island, and I absolutely hate the weather.
I'm sorry, Tony. Caitlin.
So Caitlin Heffernan, and I own Brockville Wellness Registered Massage Therapy. And I also weather. We have no AC in our unit right now.
Ooh.
So if you see me disappear, it's because our AC HVAC guy is popping by at some point.
Yeah, that's great. And you're back at work, right?
We are. We're back at about 2/3 capacity.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Melissa.
Melissa Denny. I own Peak Performance Training and Nutrition.
Okay, great. I just looking at Derek just sent me and Terry.
Terry Ann Hare, and the owner of Beauty Inside Wellness Spa.
Okay, Priscilla.
I'm Priscilla Everett, and my home-based business is called Made by Bees. So I'm a beekeeper and I create bee-related products.
Perfect. And Jillian.
My name is Jillian Price, and I am the owner of Vogue and Rogue Weddings here in the Thousand Islands, and we specialize in micro weddings, anywhere from 2 to 24 people. And as you can well imagine, the business is flat. However, going to be able to generate some interest. Our commercials on Bob FM and a couple of the radio stations start on Thursday, so we're hoping we get some nibbles.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a challenging time for the wedding business.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And I'm working with Derek Halliday to bring him on. So I'm just going to try to get him in, but you guys go ahead, Kevin and Fraser.
Did we get Carol?
It was Carol in the waiting room. I don't see
If you're talking about me.
No, Carol Palco. I don't see her. So
she's not in the waiting room, but yeah.
No. So we'll just go ahead, guys. I'll see if I can get Derek in.
Okay. Fraser, you've got the co-host. You're going to do some sharing. Share your audio as well, right? The sound.
Does that need to be enabled with me?
You are. I made you a co-host. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so let me know if you can see my screen. Make sure this is working properly.
Looks good to me.
Good. Take us away, Kevin.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you everybody for coming. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of go back and forth here for the most, I think pretty much, well, almost everybody knows me. Fraser and I are going to do introductions here in a second. But this really is Fraser's, expertise. This is his line. So he's gonna run pretty much 95% of it. I'm gonna jump in every once in a while because I like to hear my own voice from time to time, right? And there's a lot of people on the call that have coached with me. So there's some areas that we're gonna kind of reinforce from our coaching days that apply directly to this topic and what we're talking about today. So Fraser, if you want to go down, maybe just introduce yourself.
Sure. Well, I'm Fraser Hardy. I own NorthNet Media. We've been doing business since 1998, so quite a while now. We focus on web development and design and digital marketing, anything web related, basically. So currently we manage about 100 websites. We've probably done close to 200 over the years, and 20 of the current ones we manage are e-commerce websites. So we've been doing e-commerce now for probably 15 years. That means everything from booking services to selling products. And I know that today on the call we have quite a cross range, people who are doing service bookings and people who are selling products. So this will be pretty exciting to get into. So that's a bit about me. We have a small team. There's 3 of us, and we operate out of Brockville. Kevin.
So I'm Kevin Savoy. I am an owner of Business Binance Business Solutions, Inc., also a certified business coach. I have been coaching businesses in, I would say, Eastern Ontario for 9 years now. So we're lots of experience on that side, all the way from Gananoque to Cornwall to Ottawa and to Pembroke. I come from an engineering background, got into coaching a while. Carol's in the waiting room there, Wendy, if you want to get her. And so I, Fraser and I have been working together for years now, and this is really the brainchild of Fraser and his, his dedication to local businesses, mine as well. So we wanted to really kind of turn this into an educational piece for people considering the current climate that we're in.
Can't hear anything.
As well as, everything moving forward. Fraser, do you have the ability to, no, I just muted Carol, so we're good. No, there she is. Okay, good. What we'll do right now is we'll go on to the agenda, if you will, Fraser. I'm just going to go through this real quick. We've got a ton of information to go through today. The time frame is hopefully we can finish it up around 11:50, and then that leaves 10 minutes for questions and answers at the end. If there's a lot of questions and answers that go beyond noon, then what we'll do is throughout this whole presentation, we're going to encourage you to take advantage of the offer to have a free kind of one-on-one, one-on-two session about online stores and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you stick around at the end and take advantage of that. So we're gonna start by understanding how e-commerce is bigger than just selling products / services. We're gonna get into the scary parts about having an online business, the true cost of having an online storefront, the pot of gold for online sales, right? Offers. And of course, we wanted to get into some real valuable stuff for the participants on here. So we're really going to dig deep into practical strategies and how to maximize your online store. And then of course, what's next. Okay. So all of this, if you notice, is powered by lgshoplocal.com. So you'll see that's the branding that we're going through with both of our companies coming together. So I'll pass it over to Fraser, and then I'll track the chat as well, Fraser, for you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Kevin.
Yep.
So just encouragement to everyone who's watching. If you have questions, we do want to take some time at the end, as Kevin mentioned. But as we go forward, feel free to put the questions in the chat so you remember them, and that we can kind of look at them together. So let's jump into this, because we do have a lot of content, and I really want to get to the practical strategies. I think a lot of people here are here for that. So let's just quickly kind of go through the agenda and start the process with understanding commerce. So how is online commerce different than or bigger than just selling products? Let's do a quick comparison to traditional commerce first. So we're all familiar with brick and mortar commerce, where the customer can enter your store, they can touch and feel a product, you have a personal interaction with them, they can meet the sales professional, and they can pay on the spot with the goods in hand. This is age old, going back centuries. Back in the last century, when brick and mortar commerce changed to what we call catalog commerce. And this is where most of us at some point in our lives have experienced the Sears model. So if you grew up like me in the 80s, your mom would take you to the Sears catalog place in your local hometown, and you flip through the catalog and you pick the pair of jeans that you really don't want because they're not name brand, but you pick them out of a catalog and order that stuff, and then it shows up in a couple weeks. So Sears taught us actually to trust in a name, a big name, and shop without actually touching or feeling the product. We filled out a form, we handed it to the person or phoned it in, and we picked it up in a few weeks and paid cash at that time. So then we transitioned obviously into what we call online commerce. And online commerce is just commerce being done online. So a lot of people think e-commerce is something big and different and scary. It's not. It's just commerce done online. And thanks to Amazon, they have trained the entire world to pay for products before we ever receive them, touch them, or feel them. So we've learned to trust the big name. We value the return policies and the consistency that we experience online. And most of us have purchased anything from, as you see here, plane tickets, groceries, furniture, home appliance, clothing, even razor blades and fresh fruit online. So we have been trained that this is how we do business. And I'm going to ask Kevin to pipe in on this last point.
Yeah, what we mean here is that online commerce is no longer revolutionary; it's evolutionary. I say this all the time when I'm talking about coaching my clients on marketing and all that kind of stuff. I've always used the analogy. Okay, well, guess what? In the late '90s, if you had a cell phone, that was pretty revolutionary. Today, if you don't have a cell phone, you haven't evolved. That's the same idea with social media, right? 10 years ago, social media for small, medium-sized businesses was kind of revolutionary. And I say to my clients, well, guess what? If you own a business and you don't have digital social media marketing as a plan within your company, you have not evolved yet, right? The same thing is now applying with online stores, right? If you have products or services and you do not have an online store, online stores are no longer revolutionary. It's part of evolution. And if you haven't done it in your business, then you have not evolved yet. So the question is, okay, based on that statement, do I need to rethink my business, right? So Fraser, if you go ahead, what does that mean, rethinking my business, right?
So let's take a look at a few kind of stats just to bounce off that idea that this is no longer a fad. It's not revolutionary, it's evolutionary. It is the next step in what we should all be doing. And let's just look at some numbers here to back this up. So online sales, obvious, everyone knows that it's increasing. It's the largest single marketplace on the planet. It's the fastest growing location to buy and sell products and services. And we can see that in this graph here. The future of e-commerce after COVID-19, we have this interesting time we're experiencing in 2020, and that is that everyone is being trained to purchase things online, not because we want to, but because in some cases we have to. Well, what's happening is that habits are being formed. So what we're seeing here is that the projected penetration rates for e-commerce are set to increase dramatically in the next few years. In fact, I would say these numbers are a little bit outdated already because of what's been happening. This was done. This statistic was pulled earlier this year. One of the stats that I read earlier today was that the user penetration is set to increase to 60% by 2025. That means that 60% of people will do the majority of their shopping online. That is a huge number. When we get into actual mobile, everyone has a mobile device, and this is what people are using. You can almost see that we are in a state where 73% of online shopping is done in a mobile state, mobile device, and that has grown dramatically as well. Just in the last few months, COVID-19, as I mentioned, we saw e-commerce sales spike 25% in March alone, and that continued in April, May, June, and now we're into the summer. We're seeing all kinds of things online. right down from individual stores right through to farmers markets online. So the trend is no longer a trend, it's part of what we do, it's part of life. This can be a bit scary to people. So those of us who have never set up an online store or never sold something online, there are some scary parts or perceived barriers, and we kind of want to address those and then talk through them together. So the first one is, well, where do I sell my products? There's all kinds of choices out there, from your own website to hosted websites to various types of marketplaces, and we want to talk about that today and kind of get into what is it that we actually need to do. What about credit card costs? What does that look like? Is it safe online? Is it going to cost me more to sell online? How do people pay with things other than credit cards? We're going to talk about that a little bit today and just kind of break down the barriers there. What about fraudulent purchases? This is a huge one. There is a perception out there that online sales or that online purchasing opens the door to fraudulent transactions, and that is actually not the case and can be proven through statistics. So we'll talk a bit about that and what the industry is doing to protect you as a storefront and the purchaser. And of course, what about shipping costs? This is one of the biggest ones. If people can't come into my store, how do I get my products to them? Do I have to pay the shipping cost? How does that work? So let's break these down a little bit. We're going to jump into kind of looking at a comparison between a brick and mortar situation and an online store to try and narrow out or disseminate these claims, these scary parts. So everyone knows that launching a storefront, opening a store downtown or in a mall or anywhere else is going to have a large expense. So I know there's some people on this call that have storefronts, and you've probably invested $20,000 or more just to get started, just to get that thing up and running. And an online store is a fraction of that cost. So we've put a number about $2,000. That is for a fantastic store that you own. I want to emphasize that you own. We'll get into that a little bit later, but there's a difference between you owning your store and you renting your store. Jumping down, next line, overhead expenses. Obviously, in a traditional storefront, you're paying your utilities, rent, all that good stuff, whether or not anyone ever shows up. In the online environment, your overhead expenses on a monthly basis are generally very inexpensive. So you're paying for one thing, hosting primarily, and that can be anywhere between $0 and $80 a month or more, depending on what you just subscribe to. Credit card fees, very similar in both environments. There is one big difference. For anyone who currently accepts credit cards in a traditional sense, in a brick and mortar, most of your arrangements with your credit card company or your bank are set that you pay the fees depending on the card that's used. So if you're familiar, this is not going to apply to everyone, but those who accept credit cards and have received a credit card statement from MasterCard or Visa will see that sometimes the rates can go anywhere from 1.9% right up to 5%, depending on the loyalty cards that customers use. With online, it's a bit different. They take an approach where it's a blended rate. So traditionally, we see right across the board blended rates where credit card fees, for example, Stripe, PayPal, and Apple Pay, Google Pay, all have the same rates, 2.9% per transaction plus 30 cents. In some cases, that can go up. In some cases, it can go down depending on your volume. Staffing. Kevin, why don't you speak to this point?
Yeah. So what we're going to do here is kind of think about, okay, if I've got my classic retail store, and the reason why we say brick and mortar, it's time-based, right? So I've got a fixed expense for my team that I'm paying. Whether there's anybody that comes into my store or not, I'm paying that person to be there between 9 to 5 while the hours of operation are open. Now, depending on how you can forecast, right? And that's the key here is, can I forecast how busy my place is going to be, right? And then I'm going to have to staff accordingly, right? So we have kind of a time-based fixed expense, if you will. If you look at the online store, it's sales-based, right? The gig is based on how many sales I have actually done. That will then indicate how much I need to either team up or team down. So it gives us, there's no forecasting. for example, if I look at Priscilla's business, right? If Priscilla gets $100,000 worth of orders, well, guess what? Priscilla's going to need to team up, right, in order to fulfill those orders and get them out. And the expense, the labor expense to revenue is perfectly predictable. However, if Priscilla owns a storefront and she's got to staff somebody to be there 9 to 5 at $15 or $16 an hour, we're going to hope that there's enough revenue that comes in to cover that labor to revenue expense. So there's a very big difference there. Fraser?
Yeah, that's a good explanation, Kevin. And moving on from that, shipping, you notice we have $0 for shipping. And that's because in a brick and mortar, obviously people show up at your store, they buy your product and walk out with it. And the misconception online is that shipping is going to cost me a lot of money. But again, thanks to Amazon, they've taught the majority of us that shipping is part of doing business online. So what that means, if any of us have ever bought off Amazon before, generally you're presented with multiple options. So we'll start with, if you want your product in one business day, you're going to pay a bit more for shipping, but the customer pays. If you want it in a week or two, you'll pay less shipping and the customer pays. Now, you've also experienced those moments where, you're not paying any shipping. And those are incentives, just like you would do in a store. If somebody spends over a certain dollar amount, sure, offer free shipping. You're going to cover the cost because it's actually a benefit to sell more products. So the shipping concern is actually, again, something that we've been taught to pay as consumers. We're comfortable with that.
Fraser, can I just add a point to that, please?
Yep, sure.
We always talk about average sale price, right? What's the average transaction amount that we get from a client? So if I'm at Tim Hortons, my average dollar sale is probably what, $3.80. If I run an HVAC company, my average dollar sale is probably $6,000, right? So if I have a company where my average dollar sale is $35, and I want to get that up, then guess what I'm probably going to do? I'm probably going to offer free shipping after I run my numbers at $55. So it's a very good, a very easy way to increase your average dollar from, say, a 35 to a 55, and provided, you have to take your shipping expense and run it into your numbers. So it's a fantastic way to up that average dollar sale, right? And when we put that towards the 5 ways to increase profit, that's our exponential growth on net profit is just one of the 5 areas. Fraser?
Yeah, and one more point on shipping as well is that with an online store, one of the beautiful things about integrating with a shipping provider, so that's like Purolator, UPS, Canada Post, United States Postal Service, FedEx. When you integrate with those directly from your online store, there's no guessing on how much the shipping is going to be. The user is actually paying the exact amount that the shipping is going to cost. So you don't need to calculate it after. It's all based on your products, weights, and dimensions, which is nice. So moving on, fraudulent purchases. Again, the credit card industry has done a great job in handling this. I was thinking this morning about this scenario, and I think in my time as a web developer, we've seen 2 cases of fraudulent activity on e-commerce websites, and both were completely covered by the credit card company, investigated by them, and the store owner had 0 liability in that. So they were not on the hook for any of those expenses. And that's only happened twice out of, well, as I mentioned, we're currently managing 20 e-commerce stores. We probably manage, there's thousands of sales per month, which is a great statement on fraudulent purchase. It just doesn't happen. Let's look at the pot of gold. What does an online store allow you to yield at the end of the day? Well, first of all, potentially higher profit margins. And we talked about that in our graph. There's a lower cost to start up. There's a lower operating cost, and other expenses like shipping are passed on to the consumer. So you have the potential to actually generate higher profits from your online sales. One of the biggest features, or the biggest benefits, I should say, of shopping online or having your customers meet you online is that you can track all of their activity. So when someone walks into your storefront, they might browse around the store, but you're not really sure where their focus has been. With online storefronts, you can actually track what pages did they visit, how long did they spend on these pages, what products were they looking at, what was the flow of activity that a customer took through my website, and then right down to what products did they buy, how many people bought this product versus that one. There's a lot of very, very valuable information when it comes to customer tracking. And of course, that translates into direct marketing opportunities. And I'll touch really, really briefly here on Facebook marketing. We'll talk about this later, but Facebook ads and remarketing. So a direct marketing opportunity is basically the opportunity to say, well, this customer looked at this particular product yesterday. Now when they're on Facebook, they see an ad for that product that they looked at yesterday. And that's called remarketing. We'll talk a bit more about that later on, but just keep that in mind. Direct marketing, remarketing, great opportunities. Online store, great environment for testing new products, new ideas, or introducing something new that is new to the area or new to you. It has a much lower risk and a greater exposure than your traditional storefront would, meaning that you can put it online within minutes and be exposed to not just your local community, but also the greater, the whole province, country, or internationally. Another great opportunity is related or suggested products. So when someone's looking at a product online, a great sales tool is to say, other people who purchased this product also looked at or purchased this other product. It's kind of like the, would you like fries with that upsell, or suggesting things. If you're buying this, you're going to want to buy this. So we have that opportunity in an online environment to relate products together and even look at past customers' shopping habits to see what products are people buying together. Checkout incentives are a big way to close the deal. So that could be simply someone spending time looking at products. After a few seconds, you may pop up a notice that says, if you subscribe today, you get 10% off your first order. So it's a checkout incentive to kind of seal the deal. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. A lot of opportunities there when it comes to cross-marketing. So obviously you're looking at a much larger customer traffic base. You're just not limited to your physical location or your own community. You're looking much broader than that. That's a no-brainer. And of course, the instant reports and access to costs and profits. That's a little bit like the customer tracking, but this is a bit more than that. So when somebody buys something, you are instantly made available all the financial information. So in a traditional storefront, you put in your cash register, you might check out, do everything at the end of the day, or run the reports later that week. In an online environment, these are all real time. So you can actually see through your payment processor and through your own website what is happening, how much it cost me to list that product, where are the profits, and so on and so forth. And of course, your online store is open 24/7. This kind of loops back to the staffing. You don't need to have staff at 3 in the morning to sell products online, which is huge. So let's carry on here to, I guess that's just the start of the rainbow. Those are 7 things, the pot of gold. We're going to get into some strategies now on what you can actually do on your current store or website to boost things. But before we do that,
just can you touch on, there was one thing about, I've had this happen to me numerous times where I'm going to go through and I'm going to be doing some shopping and I put some stuff in my cart and then I leave. I leave without checking out, and I get these reminders, these pings. Hey, you forgot, don't forget these things waiting for you in the cart.
Yeah.
Right, as a mechanism to boost sales.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. And the direct marketing opportunity we mentioned up here is very similar to that. So that's called basically an abandoned cart or an orphan cart situation, and that's actually a huge benefit of online shopping. If somebody walks away from their cart, like you described, Kevin, you would actually know, as a storefront owner, you can see that a cart was left open with certain products in it. And if that's a returning customer, you'll know exactly who it is. If not, you may have an email address or something. If that customer has subscribed, you can actually have your system automatically remind them that there's items in their cart. Not only that, is when they come back to your website, the system will actually remember that they had those items in their cart, and they'll pick up from where they left off. So I had a personal experience with this just the other day. I was looking at some badminton rackets for my kids on Sport Check, and I put them in my cart, left, came back a week later, they're still in my cart. So online shopping environments will remember the returning visitor. It's going to bring back my orphan cart and say, hey, don't forget these. But then there's opportunities to reach out automatically and have that person come back. So that is a great value. There's a couple things we do want to discuss here, the non-negotiables of your online store. So these are things that you absolutely must make sure that you have in place in your online store. And they're going to seem like no-brainers. We'll talk about them real briefly. So it must be easy to administer. This is super important because you have to be able to create products online, add the photos, add the descriptions, add the stock, all that good stuff really, really easily. So your system has to be really easy to administer and not take as much time as you might think. It also has to be easy enough that you can train a staff person to do that for you, or even easier where you can import products directly. So it has to be really, really easy for you to administer. And whether that's products or services, you need to be able to do it. I'm a web developer, and we train our customers, and especially our e-commerce customers, how to do the administration on their own products. The worst thing that could happen is if they have to come back to me every month or several times a week to add products. That doesn't work well for them. They want to be able to control it and manage it just like you would your online store. Site must be secure. That's a no-brainer. That's the security certificate, and that's using the proper payment systems. Must be simple for the consumer to navigate. This is huge. Most orphan carts or abandoned carts or online stores that don't get e-commerce sales is a result of a really bad navigation system or making it really difficult for the consumer to find what they're looking for. So there's lots of ways to make it really easy, and we're going to talk about that in the strategy section, but it's basically reducing the number of clicks. So if we think about that, reducing the number of clicks from the time somebody lands on my website to the time that they're about to hit checkout. Must have an easy checkout payment process, and we talked about a few of them early on. The best ones are the ones that integrate directly in your store. In the past, we have done things like sending people off to the payment provider and then back to your store. There is documented statistics to show you that you often lose customers when you do that. So you want your payment process to be integrated, something that people feel like I'm still on your store. And it must build trust. You have to build trust. We're going to talk about that in the strategy section, and basically how to build customer trust with your online store. And of course, you must demonstrate why you. And Kevin, why don't you speak to this for a minute?
Yeah, I will. Everybody knows, there's two things that you need for marketing and sales in every business, right? You need a USP and a guarantee. And this talks about the USP. What's your unique selling proposition? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because we're in the interest of time, we're running a little bit late. We still have a lot of stuff to go through. But the whole why you is, do you have a very strong and clear idea and definition of what is your unique selling proposition, right? And that's what you need to demonstrate.
Thank you. All right, let's carry on. We're going to get into some practical strategies. Notice our amazing picture on the right-hand side. That is us today, folks. You're paying attention to the news. Go and get your mask. Practical strategies. We've got 2 pages of these. I'm going to go through them. I think this is being recorded, and we can definitely share these with you afterwards. So we're going to go through them quickly, but these are things that you can actually do on your current store and right now. So lead with your top 5 products. Might sound simple, but this is the best way to create sales. You want your best selling products to be the first thing that people see. We want to cater to our most passionate and dedicated customer. I'm going to spend a little more time on this one because a lot of people will try to create an online store that they think will draw in anyone. But the real sites that work well are the ones that cater to their ideal customer. So if you don't know who your ideal customer is, take a pen and paper and write out the attributes of that ideal customer, and then create your website, your online store to cater to that customer. If you have 5 people in your neighborhood that are your ideal customer online, you have 500. So it's a huge marketplace. Focus on that target market. Use all sales channels. This is a huge strategy. So most of us have, or a lot of us have online stores, And if you're not taking advantage of things like Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, other social media, you're missing out. Those are massive sales channels to drive traffic to your storefront, in addition to other things like Kijiji, eBay, even swap shops. So we're allowed in swap shops and other social marketplaces, you can use those to actually drive traffic to your website. Most of these are free. We haven't talked about the ads yet, but most of these are free. It just takes a few minutes to drop those in and use those sales channels. Customer care, this is a big one. So after sale support is as important, if not more important, than your pre-sale. So these are things that you want to make sure that after a customer buys something, they get a thank you note. It could be an automated email a week later that says, you know, we just want to thank you once again for purchasing this product. We'd love to hear from you. Would you leave us a testimonial? So people love to be kind of, you know, afterwards saying, getting a thank you note. Thanks for buying this. You know, have you thought about this? We don't want to turn it into a sales tool, but we want to turn it into customer care. We're looking for your feedback on your experience with our system. Marketing, Kevin talked a little bit about USP and guarantee. Other aspects of marketing, the practical strategies on your website. It has to look nice. It has to be fantastic on the eye. That's where we talk about the user interface and the user experience. Does it feel good? Does it look good? Are the pictures crisp? Do I have enough? Is it easy to navigate? Are the descriptions inspiring? Do they teach me something about this product that I didn't know before? Hang on to that thought because we'll get into that in a minute. Be social. This is something that as business owners, we often have a very difficult time doing. In fact, I would argue that I'm one of the worst. And that is that you want to be, as a business owner, social. You want to share what you're doing on your Facebook page. You want to be able to say to people, hey, we're listing a new product line. This is what it is. Or in Caitlin's case, you know, we're 2/3 open. Actually, on that note, Caitlin, I loved your video. I think it was a Frozen song that you did. Yeah, I thought that was very creative and almost 600 views. So that was really good. It's a great example of being social. You want to get in there and answer inquiries personally. When people are on your Facebook page, as a business owner, get on there. Tell them, you know, respond to them on a personal level and engage your customers. They will come back and be part of your store. Photos, touched on this earlier. You need photos. So whether it's a product or service, make sure that you have great photos, if possible, video. If you don't have access to a camera or you don't have good photos, there are so many people, including students, in the summer company program that would be happy to sit down and take photos of your top 40, 50 products. More strategies. We have a whole second page here. Social proof. Oh, this is my favorite topic. So social proof are things like testimonials, and we all know we've seen them on every site. But you can use these on not just your overall website, you can use them on specific products. So you want to get those testimonials on a specific product that someone has used. You want to spread those out between products, maybe even categories and the site. Customer numbers, that is basically, you want to brag about or invite people to be part of what you're doing. So an email newsletter is a great example. When you're asking people to subscribe to your storefront or your email newsletter, say, you know, join the other 1,500 people who receive our weekly specials. When you say 1,500 people, people say, well, I want to be part of that number. And so customer numbers and using on a product, for example, you know, 5 other people purchased this product today. Those are great. People want to be part of something that other people are doing. And purchase alerts. So purchase alerts, you've probably seen this before. It's a little pop-up that happens often in the lower left corner of a shopping site. And it might say something like, Joe Smith bought this product 3 days ago. And they kind of pop up as you are navigating through the site. What that does is actually create this environment that it's active. It's happening now. People are purchasing. And that's the social proof aspect. Other people are purchasing, so I want to purchase too. That leads us to our next point, create urgency. And the term bestseller is a great way to do that. It might not even be your bestseller, but if it's something that people are buying, bestseller can actually be something that people say, yep, that's the one I want. It's like saying this is the popular choice when you're looking at 3 different options. Most people will navigate toward the most popular choice. Showing limited quantities is also another tactic. So a lot of people will say, well, you know, I don't want to show my stock numbers, but sometimes that can work to your advantage. And Amazon has taught us this. When you're looking at a product and it says there's only 2 left, we are more inclined to buy right now than wait till tomorrow to buy. Exit intent are typically pop-ups or things that happen when somebody has been sitting on a web page long enough, and then they make the motion to navigate away from the page. The system automatically shows them a pop-up and says, oh, before you leave, why don't you sign up for our newsletter and get 10% off your first order, or something like that. So it's a way to create this engagement. And all of these things are a way to, you know, create that whole fear of missing out and create that environment where people don't want to miss out on the purchase. I'm going to speed up here, but sold out products actually work really, really well to your advantage. So when you have a product on your store and it's sold out, mention it. Say, oh, we're sold out of this, and provide ways that engage the customer in connecting with you regarding that product or something similar. So a sold out product doesn't mean you've lost the sale. What it means is that you have an opportunity to capture the shopper info and say, you know, would you like us to remind you when this product comes in? Or would you like to back order this product? Or here's a similar product that other people bought instead of this one. So a sold out product is actually a way to again, create that fear of missing out. You know, I missed out on this one, but I don't want to miss out on that one. Or yes, remind me when that came in. It's not a negative thing at all. Be the expert. This is a really good one. So on your products, you may be sitting there and thinking, my product is not hugely different than what other people are selling online. But here's the thing, you're the expert because you're the store owner and you know more than the customer who's about to buy your product. So on a product page, you can offer things like how to use. So a PDF and say, how to use this product. Or advice on where's the best place that I can do this, or why is our service, or what should you be looking for in this particular service. So you're offering that expertise or value. This is a huge trust building tool. So actually, I think Carol Palco's still on here, and I know in the past, I think on her website, they have videos of Chris, you know, doing some of the jewelry, which is great. It's a trust factor. They're showing this is how it's done and the work that's going into this. And I think you have a cleaning video on there too, which is really good. You want to be the expert. Offer a guarantee. Won't touch too much on this because Kevin answered this in a previous one. USP and guarantee also answers why will people buy from you. An opt-in offer, conceal the deal. We did touch on this earlier as well. That's the, you know, before you leave, here's a 10% off your first order. So if someone's contemplating a product, they're not sure, have it pop up on the screen. If they sit on the page for a minute too long, let's show them this deal. Let's get that deal right now. Let's close it. Make it easy to buy. We talked about that. Fewer clicks. You know, simple things like we've got a few farmers market websites that you can add items to your basket without ever clicking into the individual product. And you may have products like that as well. It's just right away, add to cart, add to cart, add to cart. Make it easy for that person to buy. Online ads and remarketing. We talked about that a little bit earlier. It is a huge industry. Online ads will directly result in sales. That's our experience. So if you have an online store and you're struggling, one of the greatest ways to boost sales is online ads and remarketing. Again, remarketing, great tool. Most people don't really know a lot about it. It's that system where if somebody shows up on your website and they look at your product and you have purchased a Facebook ad, the next day that customer is browsing on Facebook, that product that they just looked at on your website shows up on their Facebook ads. The mind tells us that it must be meant to be because I was just on that website yesterday, I saw that product, and here it is today. So I'm going to click on it again. And it's a great tool. Remarketing. Last one, the fortune is in the follow-up. So all of the email addresses and sales that you've made are going to turn into repeat customers, new customers, and extended customers through social media. Kevin, why don't you speak a little bit more on follow-up because you're an expert at this.
Yeah, so we talk about conversion rate statistics, right? You know, 25% of sales are made, salespeople make, you know, a second contact and stop, right? 12% of salespeople make 3 contacts and stop, right? Only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. Now, here's the thing. 80% of sales are made from the 5th to 8th contact, right? And the beauty is that every single person on this call is a salesperson, right? Every person on this webinar is in sales. And if you don't think you're in sales, then you need to send me a direct message so we can get together for a cup of coffee offline. So we're all in sales, right? Which leads right into number 16. You need to follow up, right? Fraser?
Okay, let's carry on. So what is next? Well, we have a few questions for you. Which statement represents you? And you can just make a note of this as we go through it. You are either in a situation where your business currently does not have an online store and you just have determined that you absolutely need one now, or maybe you do not have an online store, but you're still hesitant, have some questions, or perhaps you have an online store and you're ready to kind of boost that traffic. Well, we want to give you 3 options today, 3 offers. We're going to look at one more in depth, but before we do that, just want to say that, you know, as I mentioned in the beginning, NorthNet Media, we've been doing websites for 22 years. We can certainly help you out. If you find yourself in a situation where you need a new online store, reach out to me or Wendy or Carol or Kevin afterwards, and we will certainly help you with that. And as an incentive to you guys today, we will offer free hosting for an entire year with your new online store. But the one I'm really excited about today is the free account that we want to offer you on lgshoplocal.com. We're going to talk about that in just a second, so I'll save that. And then the last one, if you have an existing store and you're saying, well, I'm just not getting the performance, I'm not getting the results I'm looking for, we do want to offer you a one-time SEO report. That means that we're going to help you look at competitor analysis, performance, and do a site audit. So what we're actually going to do now is jump into an LG Shop Local video. Hopefully this works.
Right here in our community, there are hundreds of locally owned shops, stores, and restaurants that you have grown to love. However, with the current rules and restrictions, we are left with businesses who are unable to open their shop doors to you, the consumer. Introducing Leeds and Grenville Shop Local, an online marketplace where you can shop for products and services from your favorite local businesses. Browse the growing product catalog and shop directly at local stores from the convenience of your home. When your products are ready, your local store owner will send you curbside pickup instructions. lgshoplocal.com, just another way to support the Leeds and Grenville communities by shopping at your favorite local stores. Maybe you are a local retailer or shop owner struggling to connect with your customers during this time, or perhaps you have excess inventory as a result of the pandemic. lgshoplocal.com makes it easy for you to sell online. Simply create a free account and begin listing your products today. When a sale is made, lgshoplocal.com processes the customer payment and distributes profits directly to your account instantly. Arrange curbside pickup and communicate directly with your customers through the Order Manager. A convenient way to build a strong community and support local businesses. Create your store at lgshoplocal.com today.
So that's our LG Shop Local promo video. Just a quick word about LG Shop Local. Kevin and I developed this early on in the whole COVID situation for 2 reasons. One, we saw the need for store owners who could not open. We saw the need where they needed to be able to sell online or get their products out there. So we created it with the idea that it would be free for local businesses who want to set up an account. You can create an account for free, list your products, and arrange curbside pickup directly with your customers. So why would you use it? Well, it's free, but it encourages local shopping habits. So we're basically reaching out to Leeds, Grenville, Lanark, and saying, let's focus in on buying local products and supporting local businesses. It increases awareness of the amazing offering of locally owned stores and shops. So you're not competing in the same marketplace with the big box stores or the bigger outlets. You're looking at the locally owned stores and shops. It does build a sense of community. This whole idea of shop local and supporting local is certainly something that people are clinging to and supporting during this time, especially. It provides a way to reach the local online shoppers directly. Enough said about that. It increases exposure for your business. This is actually quite big. I've had a lot of people say, well, I already have an online store. Why would I use that? it's kind of like a free sales channel. It offers you the ability to list your top 5 products or more and direct people back to your website. It doesn't matter if they buy it from LG Shop Local or on your website, it's still free marketing for you. And finally, it increases search engine results. So in addition to your products, your website coming up on Google, you're also going to have exposure through the LG Shop Local interface. Not to mention it's built right here in Leeds and Grenville by a local business. So your next step, whatever you have, whether you have an online store or you're looking to get your feet wet with an online store, lgshoplocal.com is a great place to get started with that. So technically that's the end of our presentation. Again, we want to open it for questions. Kevin, do you want to add a little bit more here at the end or kind of facilitate this question?
Yeah, I do. What I do want to say is probably the most important message from today is to thank the Leeds Grenville Small Business Enterprise Center for organizing this, for leaning in the way they have during the pandemic, and the value that they've brought and continue to bring to all of the residents of Leeds Grenville that take business owners, especially taking advantage of all of the services and the value that they provide. So we wouldn't be here without them. So, you know, great job. Kudos to Wendy, Carol, Jeanette, the entire team there. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, questions.
Sorry, there's a couple of questions I have if we got time here for this. My business is mostly service, and I have I foresee an opportunity to sell kind of retail to the average customer, but also I would need to have like a different way of pricing for, say, other locksmiths and stuff like that. So like for example, my average customer, I would want to charge the same rate that I would charge in my store. But if I wanted to be like a distributor to other locksmiths, that rate would be considerably different so that they could also, you know, charge the same price for that product. Is that available? Can we do that in an online store like this?
Yeah, Tony, that is a really, really good question. And absolutely. So what you're referring to, just for anyone who didn't quite follow that, you're basically talking about distributors or wholesalers that you want to offer discount pricing to for your services or products, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is a great, actually, thing that online environments can provide, because you can enter a product once and then you can create, we can help you create dealers. So dealers will have their own login, or wholesalers. And you can create things like different categories or roles. So some wholesalers might get a 10% off, some might get a 20% off, and you would determine that. So if you are anyone, if you're in an environment where you have wholesalers or distributors or different price groups, absolutely you can provide that. And it's great because you can only add a product once, and then you can basically set the various price groups. So good question. Did that answer that?
Yeah, what it also allows, and if you think about this along the exact same lines, we talk about, you know, one of the 5 strategies to grow net profit in any company. We talked about average dollar sale earlier. What we also do is, one of the elements is increasing the number of transactions, right? On average, how many times does somebody transact with me? And we think, well, how am I going to get that number up? Because when that number goes up, we have exponential growth. And that leads into this VIP membership, right? Where if I can get a client transacting with me on average 5 times a year, and I want to get them up to 8. Well, as soon as they get up to 8, I can track that and then give them a VIP pricing, if you will. And it's all kind of fully automated in the back end of the system, of the page that Fraser creates. So it works both ways, right?
And just to add to that, you know, online commerce, we've talked a lot about credit cards and accepting financial transactions, but it can also, online commerce basically means doing business online. So it may not involve a direct money. It could be ordering. So it could be, I'm ordering products. So a catalog type environment where I'm creating an order, but I'm not paying yet. And there's reasons for that. It could also be booking services. So I know a number of people on this call have booking. They're booking appointments or sessions, and you're not necessarily taking money online, but you still need kind of that commerce environment for people to create those transactions. And so when you talk about commerce, we're talking about anything where you're doing a transaction with a customer, whether or not money has changed hands or not.
Any other questions? Good question, Tony.
With LG Local, guys, is it something that people have to leave my website to go to, or is this something I can plug into an existing website?
Yeah, so actually, both.
Okay.
So we have people on LG Shop Local store owners that currently don't have a website or don't have an online store, so it works really well for them. We also have storefront owners who do have a full e-commerce store, and it works well for them too. So for a couple reasons, they're getting exposure. We're not dictating how they have to use it. We're basically providing it as another way to drive traffic. So because we're offering the free account, it's only you only pay like credit card fees and whatnot when a product is sold. It works really well. And we actually have on LG Shop Local, each storefront owner actually has their own page on there as well. So it's really like having a Facebook page where you can sell products, but it's on LG Shop Local. They can buy it from there, or they can click through to your website and buy from there. So
yeah, the idea, Caitlin, is if like on your website you're going to have a shop now or shop here, or even something like that. That hyperlink will go directly to your store, which just happens to be on LG Shop Local. It's your store, right? And you get to brand it whichever way you want and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's more what I was thinking, because I don't have the e-commerce now, but it's just make sure people, like you said, the fewer clicks, the better. So making sure they don't have to go from my page to, 6 other pages to make sure they get there. Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly it. Tony's got another question. Tony?
All right. Hey, one more question then.
Yeah.
Obviously, nowadays we have to deal with stuff if we're shipping things international. Like, say, if I'm going to ship something to another country, U.S. or something like that, and there's duties and stuff like that. How do we know, one, whether my product is legal to ship to the United States or another country, and two, how do I judge who pays the duties for shipping it there?
That's an interesting question.
So I think I can take a stab at that one.
Sure.
So that depends on how you set it up. And you would have to talk to a customs broker about that. Whether or not who's actually going to do the importing, and how you build the duty into the cost. So that is, I would just contact a customs broker, Tony, to check with them about the rate of duty on whatever it is you're going to want to be exporting or importing.
Yeah, and a lot of, if not all of the couriers, right, the international couriers, if it's FedEx or UPS, they've got the broker built right into them.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just kind of a one-stop shop. I need to get this package. This is the description from here to someplace internationally. They will be able to provide you with all the documents that need to be signed, filled out to kind of qualify what the product is. And then they'll give you all the tariffs and duty fees, and plus the shipping fee as well.
Interesting. UPS, I watched a webinar just last week, and all of that, because I guess of the new, whatever they're calling it, the new NAFTA, it's kind of rolled in with all the duties and the customs and all that sort of stuff. So you should really check that out, because a lot of I do a lot of my own importing. If I have to go stateside, like back when we could go stateside and bring it back, I used to do my own importing. But that has changed as to the forms that you fill out, and so you do it all through the CRA website, and there might be information available there to help you answer that question. But definitely, I know that UPS had done a whole webinar on it just last week. So it's new.
Good point, Carol.
There is a question in the chat box from Derek. Is LG Shop Local only for in-stock items? For example, most of my products are basically made to order.
Yeah, good question. So no, it can be, you can allow back orders. So LG Shop Local allows you to do many, many things. Everything we discussed in this meeting, for example, managing stock quantities or allowing back orders, anything like that. You can also do customization of products. So if it's a custom product where people are choosing a number of different options, you can build out that product that way. So what's an example of a custom product? Well, the simplest example is a quantity-based thing. So we have a farmer on there that's selling apple cider, and they have 1 liter, 2 liter, and 4 liter jugs. So it's one product, but they choose which size option they want. That's a simple example. We have another customer that sells snowmobile performance parts on their own e-commerce website, and they have, oh my goodness, there's probably 9 different options because they're building that product custom at the time. And Carol Palco, you probably get this a little bit on your website as well. There's a lot of customization, you know, ring size, gem, all the metal, I don't know all the terms. So it's highly customizable. So LG Shop Local, you can create what's called product add-ons and customize exactly how that you want that to be. And you can allow back orders, or in your case, Derek, it would be ordering without having it in stock.
Yeah, custom with a certain lead time associated to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can wrap this up, right? Unless there's anybody else that's got a burning issue, question.
Yeah, Wendy, I just want to highlight again the offer. You
Yes.
see our contact information is on there. Email us, either Fraser or myself, doesn't matter, and book your free online store consultation now. So whether you have a store, whether you're thinking of creating a custom store, or whether or not you just want to get on lgshoplocal.com, you know, emails.
Yeah,
That's our offer to you.
Yeah, that is a great offer. So I hope people take advantage of it, especially, you know, if you have a store already and you're looking at, you know, search engine optimization and that kind of stuff. Another pair of eyes is always really great. So thanks, guys, for doing that, and thanks, Kevin and Fraser, for doing this for us. This is our final call of the summer. We're thinking we probably won't do much until maybe September, late August. Thanks for those of you who have been our regular supporters. You know who we are, and we really appreciate you and how you support us. So take care, everybody. Stay as cool as you can. Stay well.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Nice job, everybody.
Thanks so much, guys.